My buddy Lee, who you guys are seeing here in the drone footage, Lee is a perfect example of this model. So Lee started out 16 years old, started mowing lawns, built up 3 maintenance rigs. To this day, still has 3 maintenance rigs. However, at certain points in his business, he had sold off a maintenance rig or 2 at certain times to make an investment in a nursery or to pay off a piece of equipment. So Lee is very anti-debt, which is a smart way to be, and he's paid off his nursery and paid off his Bobcat, or New Holland in this case. You guys can see Lee there in the footage. And so what's neat about Lee is that he's since rebuilt all of his maintenance accounts, and he has 3 trucks right now that do maintenance for him. He outsources 2 of them and he manages 1 of them, and by manage I mean he has a crew leader. So he does all the billing for these homes, and then he has that as a cash flow. But what's cool is if you see Lee's nursery here, all of those plants he estimates to be worth $325,000 according to his inventory check that he just did about a month ago. That's super cool because he didn't start out with $325,000. He started out in the nursery game about 6 years ago. Lee's 34 years old today, and he started out about 6 years ago, and he built up from what he had, you know, from making money on a landscape job or pulling out plants from a landscape job and taking cuttings off of them and potting them up. But essentially what he has today is he has a $325,000 inventory list on his nursery, and that is freaking cool. So it's allowed Lee to take a couple $1,000s and essentially grow it to $325,000. Now coincidentally in that whole process he got into selling mulch to landscapers and got into installing trees for big landscapers and things like that. Now the bulk of his business is on the nursery side, not on the maintenance side. But you can start a nursery at any point in time. You do not need a machine or a skid steer or anything like that to start. You simply need an area that has ideally well watered and somewhere where you can put a nursery pad and some irrigation, and then take plants or cuttings off of old jobs or off of maintenance customers' homes and start potting them up. And a couple years down the road you'll find yourself with X amount in inventory, and you'll be able to liquidate some of that inventory. Same thing in half the time. And so that's what I'm freaking stoked that you're here and that you're listening to this type of information, because it lets you really consciously plan where you're moving forward with your life, and it lets you think about different hacks, different shortcuts that you can use to get there earlier, using a nursery to do that. Not necessarily the land of a nursery, but the plant aspect of it is a fantastic way in which to make more money on your landscape jobs, potentially start selling to other landscapers, and do some banking. So it gives you the ability to buy a plant for $1 and sell it a year later for $5. And you're just multiplying your money a lot faster than you could in the stock market and a lot faster than you could with any sort of piece of equipment. So something awesome to take a look at.